And just like that, we're live. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. In the house tonight, as always, is my old friend Reggie Nixon. Good evening, Reg.
Good evening. Are you well, sir?
Very well indeed. And, of course, Mr. Sale. Good evening, Mr. Sale.
Good evening. I'm about as cheery as Tex Hoy signing for Castleford.
Absolutely. Yeah, you saw that on the news. He was delighted, wasn't he? Absolutely delighted. Good evening to Greg Roach in the chat already, as is Craig Rigby. Hello, everyone there flying in, as always. Hey, not much has happened in the last 48 hours in Super League, has it? Oh, no. Right. So on that note, gentlemen, are you ready for an exclusive?
Go on then.
Here it comes. Got to be honest with you, Mr. Broadbent, for me, arguably, possibly one of your better players in 2023. Yeah. I know he's been moved around a little bit. I think he got took off at Warrington. I don't think you were very happy with the right edge that night. I don't think he was the only one. He's been moved around a little bit. But again, from the outside looking in, I know you're bringing in Corey Hall, who I think actually is a good player, Corey Hall. I thought when KR got him, I thought that was an astute bit of business. We saw what Lewis Senior was all about at the weekend, and of course with Josh being out, that makes perfect sense. You need another winger. I get that, but Broadbent, I mean, talk us through that. I mean, was that a case of did KR approach you? What happened around that one?
Yeah, that was an approach from KR initially. It all happened, fairly quickly. Probably mid to late last week, really. It all kicked off, and it were done by yesterday, really. So within 3 or 4 days, it were all done. And the first thing mentioned about Jack is ultimate professional. Really, really good guy. Great around the club. Great around the dressing room. The lads love him. The way that he trains, the way that he behaves in and around the club, the way that he represents the club and represents himself and his family. First class bloke, and can't speak any highly of Jack. And I spoke to him yesterday after it was confirmed, and there's no issues between us and him or him and the club. I just think it's one of them situation of circumstance where Jack were out of contract at the end of the year. KR made an approach that I'd like to speak to him. Jack has in the last year of his contract, he wanted to explore that and see what offers were out there on the table. And I think it was probably a move that benefited all parties. Jack secured the next 3 years or next 3.5 years of his rugby future at KR. We've got what we need, I think, at this moment in time for us. We've brought in 3 players effectively with Texoy at full, come in and put competition at full back, Lewis Senior on that right wing, and also Corey Hall to give us competition and strength on the edges as well, because outside backs, we've got quite a few people injured. Charbel Tassipar is out for 6 to 8 weeks as well now, so he's another rotation that we've lost in the outside backs and back row. So we needed some bodies, we needed some strength, and we just felt that if Jack were going to move on next year as well, we wanted to try and get people in now that could potentially be with us next year and beyond. Corey Hall's got that opportunity now, and also Lewis Senior's got that opportunity now to try and earn that in that position, and shows what they can do. So we want to keep them longer term moving on.
Yeah, I think Corey Hall's a really good, exciting prospect, I have to say. Hopefully he brings that to fruition for you. Tex Hoy, let's go back to Tex Hoy. By his own admission in his conversation on Tigers TV, said he hasn't played well at Hull FC. And I think from a lot of people looking outside, because we haven't seen Tex Hoy play well, it's almost like, well, what's the lad all about? From your perspective, again, Tex Hoy coming in, what do you believe he can achieve in a Tigers shirt? Is the best to come from him?
Well, we're certainly hoping so. Yeah, you don't play 20 or 30 games in NRL if you're a bad player, do you? So there's certainly a player in there. I think I'm right in saying when he signed at Hull, he was signed under Brett Hodgson. But before he actually got to Hull, Brett Hodgson left and Tony Smith come in. So he was signed by a different coach and played under a different coach. And I guess different coaches have different styles, and certain players fit with certain styles and certain coaches. And for whatever reason, it's not worked out for Tex there at Hull. So we're hoping that he comes into us and he gives us a little bit of something, because he's certainly a player there. He can certainly play. So we're hoping that it's going to be beneficial for both parties, and hopefully it can give us that little bit of a lift over this next month, but also through the season.
So there you go. Never let it be said I don't ask the tough questions on In Conversation. There you go. Something that neither Reggie or Steph knew about. Literally stopped recording that about 15 minutes ago and rushed it together for you fine people on a Tuesday night. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment right now. Get your friends and family watching Super League Raw. Right, Steph. Right, over to you, Greg, first. What are your thoughts, Craig Lingard? I asked a question on Broadbent. It's because his contract's up at the end of the year. Went there with Tex Hoy as well. He thinks there's a player in there.
Yeah. I suppose it makes sense. If he's not going to be at the club next season, clear up some cap space or clear up some squad space. Tex Hoy, like you say, I think he's got to prove himself. Probably Castleford is. With no, and again, I don't disrespect Hull, but maybe Castleford is the place where he can do that with less pressure on him. You go to Hull, and every year Hull are the underachievers. Or Hull this year's going to, it's a bit like Warrington, this year's going to be Hull's year. Hull are going to, this is the year that Hull are going to do it. And for so many years in the past, they've flattered to deceive. And there's a lot of pressure on Hull signings every year. I think maybe going to Castleford might relax him, less pressure on him. He might do well. He might be able to fulfill his potential. Who knows?
Well, on his press conference, or on his interview, Steph, he was almost saying it. They just go out on the field and, there's no real. I mean, one of the most bizarre interviews I think I've seen a new player signing ever.
Yeah, he was very unenthusiastic. It came across as, but that might just be his personality. We don't know the guy personally. Some people can come across like that, but I think he'll do all right at Cass. I think he's a decent player. He just hasn't fitted in at Hull for whatever reason there. But to be fair, when we played him earlier in the season, he was probably their best player that day. So he has got it in him. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But I think Broadbent is a massive loss for Cass. I said it earlier a few weeks ago in Weekly, that they need to keep a hold of him. And it's, I'm sure the Castleford fans will be disappointed that he's gone. But good to see some, Corey Hall's a great signing to come in for them. And, they've got a few players there. So you can see why they've done that business.
Do you think Broadbent would have stayed?
Well, the way he spoke there, he was perusing options. So I think Broadbent possibly wanted to go, which you can't really blame him. I think he was sorry to see him go, if I'm being honest. But yeah, a bit of an exclusive there. Let's do a quick couple of shout outs. Chris McGann, James Williamson, waving hello to you. Joel Scholes, there he is. Good to see him in the chat. Callum Calver's with us, Alan Clegg's with us, Greg Rigby's with us. Oh, they're all in. Chris Seedhouse is with us, Daniel Collier, Neil Rennox, a Super League Raw member, of course, Ryan Birch, another one. They're all coming in. Get your comments in the chat. We will be giving you shout-outs. And a big shout-out to 2 Lee Leopards fans. One of them bought me a beer before the game on Saturday as well. Andy Parvo Parker, didn't quite get his name, but Andy, you know who you are. And Mick Ward, good evening to you, sir. Keep watching the best magazine show there is online. Right, let's see.
Hang on. Where was my pint before the league game?
Mate, you've got to turn up and actually put a shift in to get a pint. I was in that bar for an hour before you got there. You sit yourself down, right? Now let's stay with Castleford. Corey Hall's coming. I mean, we saw Lewis Seen at the weekend. We've joshed him out. Yeah, happy days, makes sense. Corey Hall, I still think Corey Hall's a player. The bits that I've seen of him, I think he needs a sustained period of time in a team. Hopefully he gets that at Cass. And Sam Esser is going to be coming in from the Wigan Warriors on an initial 2-week loan to bolster the pack. So been very busy, Mr. Lingard, and credit to Craig because, that interview started at 6:15. It's been a busy 48 hours in Castleford. Didn't let me down, came on. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Lingard. Sam Esser, that's a good signing.
Yeah, very good. I think they've done some good business there. Like I say, losing Broadbent is a bit of a kick for them as a young prospect kind of thing, and one who's, potential to be a bit of a superstar there at Cass. But the quality they brought in should hopefully, just because of the numbers, should hopefully bolster that squad.
Absolutely. Craig Rigby, I'm coming to that a bit later in the show. Don't you worry about that, sir. Don't you worry about that. Good evening, Tony Pennington. Good evening, Andy Bibby. Greg there proudly, of course, wearing a Super League Raw T-shirt. Bit of merch. That's coming a little later on. And Callum's also talking about it as well. Right, let's move to your neck of the woods. Brilliant. For those who haven't seen it, go onto the Lee Leopards Facebook page. Adrian Lamb's press conference today. Comedy gold. I won't spoil it for you. Brilliant.
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
But Steph, we'll start with you because it's your team, my friend. Joe Sco, shout out to ATAC, who makes the best designs. He does indeed. We gave him a shout out last week, Joel. Where were you? Mark, another shout out. Go and check out my ATAC designs. Come on, we've got a big show here, Joel.
He does a great one for the Culture Eagles as well.
He does, but guys, we've got so much to get through. Come on. We've got to stay focused here. We've got to stay focused tonight. We really do. So, Lee Leopards, we've been saying all the way that Tom Briscoe wouldn't get back in with Hanley. Never in a million years. McIntosh has come in. So, to the untrained eye, people will be saying, oh, well, McIntosh is another wing. And well, no, because he can actually slot in at full back, can't he? So, this is a good bit of business for you, would you say, Steph?
Yeah, I think it's a very good bit of business. I think in our team, in our attacking line, we were talking about on the WhatsApp group earlier, but I think he'll flourish in our attacking line and coming at fullback quite nicely. Sad to see Tom go. We're going to have to retire my Briscoe BM. That's now going in the bin after tonight. So yeah, that
memories, sir. Memories. You can keep hold of it.
Yeah. No, but I would like to put a rep. You know, he won the Challenge Cup with us, so it's always sad to see, like it was with Ben Reynolds, go as well. But from us moving forward, you know, we're replacing a 36-year-old with a 26-year-old. And you know, you called it earlier in the season, Dave, to your credit, you know, that we needed to do that. And with O'Brien being out, I think it was a sensible thing to do. So from a league perspective, it's you know, we'll wait and see. The lad's got to come in and perform, but it on paper seems like a very good bit of business by Adrian Lamb.
As Paul Newman said to Robert Redford in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I have vision and the rest of the world wear bifocals. That's what I'm talking about. Mr. Nixon, over to you. Josh Drinkwater, rumoured. Well, he is. He's out of there at the end of the season.
Yeah.
No wonder you're smiling.
That's a little bit unfair. Yeah, I'm smiling. Yeah. He's not really done the business as he did at Catalan. I don't think he's whether him and Williams don't hit it off as a partnership. Once Leon Hayes was in and established, there was no way, unless Hayes got injured or Williams got injured, that Drinkwater was going to get back in. And you know, he's at an age now where he does need to be playing first team rugby for the next few years to build that pension pot up. So I'm not.
All FC rumoured. All FC.
Yeah, but apparently it's been turned down. Apparently 3 or 4 Super League clubs wanted to take him on loan, and it's been turned down for the time being. So you know,
you need cover, mate. You need cover.
Yeah,
you can't, as Steph will tell you, you need cover at halfback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, you do. And seeing as you know, Riley Dean's gone to Australia. I mean, it would have been perfect to have Riley Dean as cover rather than Josh Drinkwater. But I think Sam Burgess has said that, to his credit, Drinkwater's been really good around the club and good to the youngsters and bringing the youngsters on and helping them to kind of focus. So, you know, the lad's still doing a bit of a job behind the scenes. So fair play to him for that.
Absolutely. And that cheers was for you, Craig. The Brewdog is firmly in the sales hand. Don't you worry about that. In terms of Reggie, they want you to predict the Saints at the weekend. Stuart Minnis, spot on. Great knowledge there. Stuart Minnis on about Briscoe holding the most tries in the Challenge Cup final. And Ryan Birch agreeing that McIntosh, good bit of business. He played better for them at fullback than on the wing. So,
and I think that'll free Hardacre up. I think Hardacre's a better centre, if I'm being honest.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. If he's not a good centre, he could be the next James Bond because he's acting for a high tackle. He's absolutely
that was brilliant.
Second to none, but that's another story. We'll get to that a bit later on. Right, Hull KR, George King being offered around Super League clubs. This is a bit of a surprise considering how consistent Mr. King has been for KR. Will he, Pete? I mean, obviously we know that, you know, where Hargreaves is coming in next year, so there's going to be a shake-up in but they're trying to offload him early. That's interesting.
Yeah,
it is. I like George. Sorry, Steph. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
It's all right. Go on, you crack on.
Stop it. I like George King. I thought he was lucky to have when Warrington got rid of him to bring Lamatazi in. The great Lamatazi came in to replace George King. I thought he was solid, if unspectacular, the kind of prop you need. And he's done well at KR. He's done really well, I think.
Very much so.
You know, he makes a difference when he's on the pitch.
Surprised. Really, I'll tell you what, I'm surprised Glassford took him up.
Yeah.
It'd be an improvement on quite a few of their front rowers.
He's ex-Wire, isn't he? So he'll probably end up at Lee.
I was going to say that was the point I was going to make, Reggie. I would be amazed if Chris Chester wasn't looking at him. Amazed.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Amazed would be Mr. Sale. Right, okay, let's go there. The big story. Again, I called it early. On In the Sheds. I did. Mr. Rowley was going to go to FC. Not a bit of it. If you remember, on In Conversation, I asked Paul Rowley, does he want to manage, coach one of the bigger clubs in inverted commas? And what I said is, let's be honest, in the Super League area, that's Saints, Wigan, and Leeds, and then of course there's the outer ones that are top six consistently, to which Hull FC haven't been for many, many years. Sorry, black and white fans, but you haven't been. And I said on In the Sheds, Leeds, is he sitting waiting for Leeds? Steph, is Paul Rowley sitting there waiting for the Leeds job? Question.
I think he is. I think he's. Well, we know he's got the ambition, like you say. He's been on record saying that, and I think that's probably the only big club, as he would describe it, that he would leave Salford for, that actually need a coach or potentially could need a coach soon. So if he is going to leave Salford, I think that's probably his next destination.
Greg, coming to you. I don't know if you saw it in the news, but I put Brodie Croft's interview after the Huddersfield game. Talk about flat. Former man of steel, completely monotone, looked dead on his feet. If Mr. Rowley went to Leeds, he'd get the best out of Ackers and Croft, wouldn't
he? 100%. Yeah, 100%. And the thing about him is that he does bring the best out in young players and unknown players. Look what he's done for Salford over the last few years. And the money Salford have made off the back of that with transfers. He's been I can understand that Salford don't want to let him go, but I agree with Steph. I agree with Craig Rigby that 100% if the Leeds job comes up, and that is likely to be the one that is going to be up for grabs next. I think we'll see him go to Headingley.
When's he contracted till, Dave? Do you know when he's contracted till?
I don't, mate, to be absolutely honest. But I just think that the stars would align there. It'd be too big a job for Rowley to turn down if it came up. And I think it might come up sooner rather than later, because not only was Brodie Croft pretty low, but so too was Andy Bibby, mate. No coach would take the poison challenge of Gateshead Thunder Sharks. Oh, dearie me, Andy Bibby.
Mr. Bibby, are you a KR fan by any chance?
Contracted till the end of 2025. And of course, that's why the fee, well done there, Chris Seedhouse. That's why, of course, there was a bit of a fee on the line for Salford. They did approach Salford with a fee. But let's be fair, Leeds have got a few bob. They probably put some money on the table as well. We will continue to watch that with great interest. Right, boys, because I've been tied up with Craig Lingard, have I missed anything in terms of news today?
Chamberlain's gone on loan to Hull as well.
Right, okay. Edward?
Ed Chamberlain's gone to Hull.
Ed Chamberlain, yeah.
Fair enough.
But only on loan.
On loan, fair enough. So there you go.
So was it a week loan or was it season long? I can't remember.
4 weeks.
Okay, 4 weeks.
Well, there you go. We'll wait and see. But just wanted to make sure, like I say, been really busy getting that Craig Lingard interview done. And actually, I forgot to mention this at the time. Super League Raw members, don't you worry a bit. That will be available for you tomorrow. I will edit it, and that will be coming into your inbox tomorrow, as always, for a week before it goes out to general public, which will be a week on. Well, actually, no, it will be a week on Tuesday. I'm going to explain that in a moment. Tomorrow, the Mark Applegarth show will go out. So the Mark Applegarth show will be free to all on YouTube and on the podcast. That is from tomorrow. Why Tuesday? Because Super League Raw will be delayed by 24 hours next week. We'll be going out on Wednesday next week, not on Tuesday. I do apologise for that. A little bit of a shift in the schedule. There's a bit of that going on at the moment. I do apologise. I do have a day job and I'm having to move things around. So next week, Super League Raw Weekly will be Wednesday, 8 p.m. But just so that you've got something to do on Tuesday, you will have the Craig Lingard in conversation on Tuesday. And don't worry, Super League Raw members, you will have a brand new in conversation to watch next Tuesday. So you've got Craig Lingard tomorrow, and then you've got a new one on Tuesday. More, keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll announce that later in the week. So you'll have plenty to do on Tuesday. I'll look after you, but Super League Raw Weekly, the greatest magazine show in Rugby League, will be back next week. It'll be Wednesday at 8 p.m. Just a quick announcement there. Right, before we do a whistle-stop tour of round 8, no, of course, Final Whistle podcast. Believe it or not, everybody was busy, including the members, so we couldn't do it this week. That won't happen again. Again, big apologies for that. It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy week. Bear with us on that one. I'm doing my best for you, as you know. But before we talk about this whistle-stop tour round 8, and it will be a whistle-stop tour, both Steph and Greg will get 1 minute each on each game, and that's it. I'll be cutting them off. There you go. You've heard it from me. There it is. I'll stay to that. But before we do that, just so that they've got good players and good performances in the head, should we do the top performers, boys, from round number 8? Here's the top.
Here are your top performers from round number 8 in the Betfred Super League. The top try scorers were Paul Momorowski, Liam Marshall, Wonga Blake and Ryan Hampshire, each crossing the line twice. The most try assists came from Johnny Lomax of St. Helens with 3, Liam Favell, Bevan French and Artur Romano each got 2. The top meter maker of the round was Dion Cross of Salford Red Devils with 252. Essen Masters got 215, Adam Swift 198 and Matt Duffy 180. The top tackle buster was Artur Romano and Essen Masters, both with 14 apiece, 10 for Jordan Desiree. The most clean breaks came from Dion Cross with 4, Essen Masters and Paul Momorowski each got 3. The most offloads in the round came from Oliver Partington of the Salford Red Devils with 5, Nene MacDonald and Tim Lafay also of Salford got 4, as did Patrick Mago of the Wigan Warriors. The top hard meter makers, you've got to be a prop forward, second row or loose forward for this one was Rhys Martin of the Leeds Rhinos with 153, Matt Whitley of Saints got 152, Junior Ensember of Wigan got 148 and Oliver Partington got 136 for Salford. The top tackler in the round, and it was colossal, Matty Nicholson for the Warrington Wolves, 53. Oliver Partington got 41. Liam Horn, 45. And Liam Watts, 43 for the Casford Tigers. And finally, he was back. The top goal kicker of the round was Mark Percival of St. Helens with 6. Rhys Martin, Harry Smith and Arthur Morg all got 4 apiece. These were your top performers from round number 8 of the Betfred Super League.
So there you go, the top performers from the Betfred Super League round 8. As Joe said, they thought Essen Masters were going to be on every slide. Let's be fair, he's on quite a few. He was on quite a few. Right, let's confirm what went on, of course, in round number 8. Here they are. The Rhinos gone down 24-30 to the Giants in what was a brilliant game of rugby league. The Tigers fared better than many expected, 36-14 at the DW. The Broncos 4, Red Devils 12. That was a grind. Not a really great game, but it was a grind. The Wolves 16, Leopards 14, a belter at the HJ. Saints 58, or FC 0. And then the Dragons, real statement win that, 36 points to 6 against the Robins. Right, gentlemen, like I said, you've got a minute each. Greg, I'm going to start with you first. Leeds against Huddersfield. What have you got to say?
1 minute. I've been challenged to. Great game. Really great game. Loved it. Top. Huddersfield were fantastic. But, you know, Leeds, there's something not quite right there. I thought Masters was absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. There you go. That's me. Over and done.
Well, I want to know what Dawn Baker's on about. Oh, hates Smith. Oh, that okay. So she hates Smith's tash. She says it's something out of America in the 1980s. We won't actually go there. People are listening, Dawn, dear we may. But she's not a fan of Harry Smith's tash. Right, okay. 20 seconds. Steve Cartledge, you'll be impressed, Greg. Steph,
that's why I did it.
Well, do I get a minute 40 now then?
Go for it.
Yeah. No, I won't do it long. No, I agree. It was a great game. I won't be as harsh on Leeds. I thought Leeds played quite well in spells in this game. You know, they could have quite easily won it if they'd have carried on. You know, did they have the lead twice, Leeds, in this game?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and then Huddersfield came back. So I think it's more credit to Huddersfield for coming back and showing the character. And I think that's probably why Brodie Croft was so disheartened, because they didn't play that badly, but still ended up on the losing side. But I agree on the Masters thing. You know, I'm a huge fan of him since I saw him the Sports Region round 1. I think he's been outstanding. You know, fair play. I thought Connor had a good game as well.
He did. Out about.
Yeah, I got to mention Jake Connor.
Greg Roach.
That was a great game from Connor.
Yeah, Greg Roach down about the armed services before the match did a really good job. Why don't we do something similar to the NRL? It's a good point. And guess who's with us? It's Sammy Holt. He's sorry he's late, but he's been playing rugby for the Culture for Eagles, Greg. Sam is he's there at Culture alongside your two, your little one. Obviously in different teams, of course. He's a part of Culture. Right, in terms of the Huddersfield Leeds game, at no point, I said it on the sheds, that I think that Huddersfield were out of it. I just felt that they would get the measure of Leeds in this game. Foster 2 out again. Does he look after himself? How many injuries does this guy get? I mean, I'm sorry to say it. I feel for him, but really, is he that unlucky? That's a big question.
I think he may well be made out of biscuit.
Well, absolutely.
Like
that was the turning point, actually, I thought, in the game when Newman and him went off.
Yeah.
It just exposed the left edge for Huddersfield, and they just took advantage of it.
I'd have to pick up on what Greg just said there. He's certainly a rich tea. He's not a hobnob. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right. Let's go to the DW Stadium, boys. Greg, I'm going to start again with you just to keep a bit of consistency. Another a comfortable win for Wigan. But Castleford did do better than many gave them credit for.
You know what? I was impressed with Castleford. They were still in at half-time. Fair play to them. I think a lot of people thought that Wigan were going to blow them away. But yeah, fair play to Castleford. I thought they fell away. Is it a fitness thing with them? Is it a confidence thing with them? They just fell away. Wigan stepped up a gear as well in the second half. And yeah, unfortunate, but not the embarrassment I think a lot of people thought it was going to be.
No, absolutely not. I want to say hello to Dawn Kirkby. I've seen her in the chat already. Come on, Dawn, get your comments coming in. I'm sure she will when we get to KR. Steph, Bevan French, Harry Smith, game management, brilliant.
Yeah, the reason they World Cup champions, isn't it? They were outstanding again, and we were having a bit of thing in the WhatsApp group. Craig was having a bit of panic. I had to go a bit of Frankie Goes to Hollywood on him and just tell him to relax at half time. They would come strong in the second half, and obviously my prediction came true on that one. But no, fair play to Cass for giving him a good game. After the week before, they could have easily just rolled over and used every excuse in the book, and rightly so. But to go to the DW, we all know how hard that is, and to be in with a shot at half time is credit to Castleford, I think.
Absolutely. Same old first half complacency, says Peter. Mason, come on, Pete. Let's give Wigan a little bit of a wrap on this one. The senior try, good shout, Andy Bibby. Yes, he did take it very, very well. Fair play to them. Michael Ball saying Nsemba had a good game. He did. And look, I think Junior Nsemba is a great player. And I even said on In the Sheds, possible future NRLer. Give it 2 or 3 years, it could be another KPP this. However, for me, there was better players on the park. I thought he was. We'll get to the point scoring a bit later. Good game, did nothing wrong, but I thought there was better players on the park. But this guy's going to be box office. If ever a kid was going to go to the NRL, I think it's Junior Nsemba. He is looking the power. Right, let's go to St. Helens then. St. Helens, because I've said a lot in the Sheds. You want to hear what I've said about the games? Go and have a watch of In the Sheds. Do me figures some good. Right, let's go to Greg. Saints, Hull FC. Nobody gave Hull FC a prayer. Saints, shouldn't be getting too excited. It is Hull FC who are in dire straits at the moment. But that said, Johnny Lomax, what a player.
Yeah, he's on his day, he's class.
Yeah.
He's I think age maybe is catching up with him a little bit now. No disrespect to the guy, because he's a class player. I think that was probably the most predictable game. Saints were on song. Hull, serious problems. They must be thanking the Lord that London are in Super League this season, because if it's not for London, I think Hull are in serious trouble.
Well, why really relegation?
Say again?
They're not going to get relegated.
No, that's what I mean. And that's what I mean. For London, thank the Lord that London are there, and
they can't get relegated anyway because of IMJ can.
Well, yeah, but because London are going to go straight back down, aren't they?
Yeah. So
the embarrassment of finishing bottom, is it, Reggie? You say
that's what he's about.
Yeah. But it's there's serious problems at Hull, and I'm surprised. The only thing that surprised me is that Saints didn't score more.
Yeah, good counsel. Wellesby, will he stay in the halves, Steph? Obviously, he played standoff, didn't he? In this,
because he rested. He was not injured.
By all accounts, he had a groin strain, so I was told.
It's a bit like the Saints players before international match, isn't it? No, I mean, I think Saints had to put this score on them. I think anything less than that, then God knows what the Saints fan would have been asking for if it was, just a 20-point win or whatever. But no, it was a clinical performance by Saints, and fair play to them. They had to do that, and you can only beat what's in front of you. And they did that with half a century, and you can't grumble at that.
Well, Freddie McGilvery's already predicted he thinks that they're going to give the Saints a good game, Huddersfield Giants, this coming Thursday night. We'll be talking about that in a few moments' time, Freddie, no problem. And Dawn, we're gagging to know, is this to get into Craven Park? Who's trying to sell you a pass for £5? Let us know in the chat. Right, let's go to Saturday. Again, another game that was pretty close for 12-4, Salford Red Devils. I mean, Salford blew a lot of chances, it has to be said. But again, London struck first, got the first try. It was a nicely taken try as well. But Salford prevailed in the end, Greg.
Yeah, like you say, they could and they should have won by a lot more. Maybe a little bit of complacency, I don't know. But
they struggled to get, they lost against Cast, didn't they?
Exactly. But, going down, nobody is going to fear going down to London. Let's put it this way. No. And maybe they thought it was going to be an easy win. They bombed a lot of chances, though. That could have been in the 30s, that scoreline. You have got to feel sorry for London.
Yeah.
You really do. It's not a great advert for rugby league in the capital, unfortunately.
Well, I don't know. I think they do. Look, I think we've got to be mindful here of they've not spent much cap.
Exactly. And again, this is because of IMG, like we've been saying. Yeah. They know that they're not going to be Super League next season. So, it's a shame, really.
Yeah.
I think if they'd had a chance of maybe staying in Super League, maybe they'd have brought in better players. Who knows?
Well, it speaks about to Craig as well about the game that's coming up this coming week, and I think it's got us all fascinated. We'll talk about that, Castle London, a bit later in the show. But Steph, your take on the Salford game? Tell you what, your old boy, Mr. Mellor, had a great game at hooker.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see Joe go. To be honest with you, I think he's been a solid player for Lee. It's good that he's getting his chance. He played well against us when we played him at Salford a couple of rounds ago. But I think, I'd like to give a bit of credit to London in this one, because, like myself, I think most people would have lost quite a bit of money on this and had it as a rout by Salford. So to keep it to the score they did, was it 12 points?
To 4.
I think that's very respectable, considering how good Salford have been playing this season. But I think from a Salford's perspective, even Rowley said it himself, they're finding it easier to get up for the bigger teams, and the lesser teams, they seem to be struggling a little bit. I don't know if he's including Lee in that or not. No, it does seem to be true. And obviously, I think that's the difference between your Wigans and your Warringtons and your St Helens, is that they're a bit more ruthless at this moment in time. So that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously Ryan Birch there, just going to come back to the King. I said it on In the Sheds. It'd have been an absolute outrage had the King Runiyawa been banned for that after Harry Smith one. Common sense prevailed. I think actually the match review panel have tied their own hands behind the back, as have the referees with regards to that Smith one earlier in the season. Stuart Minnis in the chat, he's asking the question over a Cumbrian team. I'll tell you what, watch In Conversation with Craig Lingard. He talks about that in conversation. So there you go. Sammy, don't worry about it, mate. We know you've been to rugby. You settle down with your can of Coke. You enjoy the show. That's what we're talking about. Right, let's move on to the belter. Halliwell Jones. I said it on In the Sheds. Lovely weather. Beer was flowing. Great fans on both sides mixing before the game. Wonderful stuff. It was a brilliant contest. Some wonderful tries. Greg, Warrington got away with one. Simple as that.
They did, but it's a game that they would have lost last season and the season before. There's a new resilience to Warrington. I'll let Steph talk about Lee. There's a new resilience to Warrington that they showed it in patches against Catalan when they just couldn't pull it out the bag against Catalan. Almost pulled it out the bag against Catalan. But I don't know. I always thought we had enough to win it. Even though even though Lee were very, very good in patches. And Lee probably didn't deserve to lose that game. No. But as I say, Duffy's been on fire this season. Bringing Ratchford in. I think bringing Ratchford in, although Wrench was playing well, I think Ratchford steadied the ship a little down that side. And again, it was a game last season where Lee would have won that game. We're a different animal this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fascinating game. Dawn Kirkby, completely agree. I think it was certainly a contender. I think the Huddersfield Leeds game also was a contender for the best game of the week. I really feel for Lee. I think Lee are playing some great rugby league at the moment in, really tough circumstances. They're not in every game. They've been competitive, bar one, which was Wigan. They should have won this. But Warrington found a way, Steph.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from the whole of this season, I think that's been the toughest one to take, because I thought Lee were outstanding in this game. We've had the excuse of our players and stuff like that, but even though we only had Robbie Mulhern for 20 minutes in this game, which was a massive factor, by the way.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Have him back. Just showed in that first 20, what's to come. And I'm as devastated as I am with the loss. I'm very, very proud of my team again, as I have been all season. I think given the circumstances we had, I think we've stood up really well, and hopefully now we'll start to get these players back and we'll kick on. But the game was the game of the week for me, and that's not just from a League fan being biased. I just thought the quality, and from seeing Warrington, for the first time in anger. I know we had the friendly earlier in the season, but I've been banging on about the improvement in Warrington week on week on week. And you're absolutely right in what you're saying. We would have won that game last year, 100%. I think the toughest thing to take from a league perspective is it's these small little margins, and the league fans have been harping on about the knock on, which led to the final try for the Warrington winner. Now, for me, it was a clear knock on, and it should have been picked up. But what Leigh fans need to remember is that we will get that back in another game. And even in the same game, there was probably something that we've all missed that led to a lead.
Oh, yeah, the high tackle on Hardaker.
He was around the ball. He was nowhere near him.
Yeah, we're talking about Matt. And it's the same when we played Leeds. Reece Martin played the ball, and it cost us that game as well. But in that game, there was probably something, what we got away with, that led to us scoring a try.
Yeah.
And even if it's not in that game, further down the season, you'll get the rub of the green with those decisions. So I think they need to get over it a little bit, the Leigh fans, on that, and just accept that on the day, Warrington were the better team.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that. I think Leigh were the better team.
I think it went one way or another.
Leigh were the better team.
Leigh were better in patches.
The difference was the goal kicking.
Yeah. Yes, it was. I mean, I was at I was interviewing after the game, and I was speaking to both Leigh players coming off who were deflated, and rightly so. But let me tell you what, now, to a man, Warrington coaching staff and players, they got away with one. They know they got away with one, and there's no doubt about that. But it does bode well. People talking about the Sam Burgess mentality. There's Callum on the screen saying they have they have a winning mentality this year under Burgess. They do indeed. Now, Stuart Minnis, I'm going to just pop in on this again. I did mention this on In the Sheds, but he said Hardaker dropped that ball. I think it was about 73 minutes. Could have gone in and put Leigh back in the lead. Go and watch the highlights. There's a reason why he dropped that ball. He dropped that ball because it was up here. He could have caught it, but as he went to catch it, he saw a freight train called Lachlan Fitzgibbon in his eye line. Fitzgibbon was going for him. And I'm telling you now, you'd have dropped that ball, Stu, because I would have done. There's no way I'd have took that tackle. Never in a million years.
Even if he'd have caught that ball, he'd have leathered him into touch.
He'd have been sitting on your knee, Steph. He'd have been sitting on your knee in the South Stand, mate.
He'd been having a 7-pound pint of Peroni with me.
Not even Peroni, Steph.
Pretty, is it? Pretty, whatever it is.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say on Warrington, I thought Matt Moreland had a brilliant game as well. Right, let's move on to the final game of the weekend. This is a statement win for me. They got out of the Challenge Cup. You could argue Hulk. I mean, Hulk Howard over their days, there was pictures of him jumping in swimming pools on Facebook and all sorts. Mentality comes into it on this one. But nobody was expecting 36 points to 6. Good win this for Catalan.
Yeah, did I tip KR? I think on
you
this
did.
one. I think I
did.
did.
Yeah.
I think that was the one that let me down
did
this
as well.
weekend. Say again.
Fans Forum did as well.
Yeah, I think this was the one that let me down this weekend. I didn't have a bad week actually, but
no,
I didn't expect it. I mean, I got to admit, this is the one game of the weekend I haven't watched back yet, simply because time catches up with you. But I didn't expect that. I really didn't. I thought that would be a lot closer. And Catalan, I think, needed that win. after the last few weeks. I think they needed it.
Well, all I will say, mate, if you've not watched it, get ready for 20 minutes into the game, because I'm telling you now, if Ukraine need a bit of dominant artillery, there was dominant artillery that came on after 20 minutes, let me tell you now, Vladimir Putin will be backtracking at pace. It's Tatai and Desiree were on the front line. That right now. Incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible. Steph, what would you make of this one?
Yeah, I think it was important after the Catalan exit from the Challenge Cup, especially at home. They needed to, a bit like St. Helens, they needed to put this performance in. I don't think many people would have thought it would have been by the margin it was. And you know, I think we're all a bit, because this was the game of the week, wasn't it?
It was. I was stunned, yeah. And even Devils, because I mean, I picked Devils up in game of the week, and quite frankly, he had his worst game of the season. He did set the trial. Yeah,
but I think OKR were just not on the same page, you know, in terms of in this one, and you know that's unexpected from what we know of OKR this season, and this is what I think is always going to be in the back of people's minds in terms of when they're raving about OKR, and rightly so, how well they've been playing, that they have got this type of performance in them still, and that's the difference between a top 2 side and a top 6 side.
Well, Ryan Birch saying it might have been a bit of complacency.
I don't know about that. I think every now and again, a team that's doing well has a performance like this. You know, it happens to, excuse me, Saints in the Cup. You know, it happens every now and again. A team that's going well just has one of those performances where just nothing goes right, and they get schooled. And I think this might be the case for KR.
They've had a couple, though, KR. They've had a couple now. They've lost to Warrington, Salford, and Catalan now, haven't they?
Warrington one was a really close game. They played really well in that game.
But they were at home.
Yeah. You know, but you get games like that, don't you? Even when you're playing on top of your game, there's going to be a game that trips you up.
Absolutely.
It happens in every sport.
But it's a big win. It was a big win for the Catalan Dragons. And, you know, and look, guys, 7 wins for me. You've got to tip your hat to them. They're playing some wonderful stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
My mate Sammy said he'd have took that tackle easy from Fitzgibbon. That's the spirit, Sammy. That's the spirit. I don't think you would at this moment in time, my friend, but the size of you now at 11, maybe when you're a bit older.
He could have bit his ankle.
Absolutely, yeah. Could have done. Absolutely. Look, great stuff. Brilliant round 8. I mean, again, we were blessed with some really, really good games in here. The tries of the week, we put them out yesterday as part of the news. There was some absolute belters. Going back to that Warrington game, the Ben McNamara, beautifully constructed. The Latelli try, a thing of beauty. The Duffy try was outstanding. And yeah, okay, Steph, you're right. There was a knock on in there, but from that point on, it was wonderful attacking play from Warrington. Yeah. There was some absolute belting tries this weekend. We are blessed to love this great sport of ours yet again. Gentlemen, it's come to that time yet again. Shall we see who's made the official Super League Raw Team of the Week? Mr. Nixon, are you ready? You're settling down?
Yeah, go on, man.
So Greg Roach, get ready. Here it is, just for you. Here is the Super League Raw Team of the Week. Is proudly sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. Join the Rugby League community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting or selling property.
It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 8 with the Good Estate Agent for 2024. Here we go again. And at number 1, the reigning Man of Steel makes his first appearance of the season at full-back this week. Bevan French alongside Harry Smith ran the show for the Warriors all night long. Let the music play on, play on. At number 2 for the second week running is Adam Swift of the Huddersfield Giants with his shiny dome. It could almost be Buzz Lightyear himself on the wing. One thing is for certain, his try-scoring prowess takes the Cowbell Army to infinity and beyond. At number 3 is Essen Masters, who was head and shoulders man of the match on Friday night. His second selection of the season proves to any doubters he doesn't have dandruff, not in 2024 anyway. At number 4 is Ricky Latelli, who alongside Masters demonstrated a complete centre performance against the wire. Ricky is a master of his craft, and just like a nice ale from your local, this outing was smooth as silk and delightful on the taste buds. At 5, well, there was no naught for London, but the Crosses came out on top. Dion Cross anyway, he was exceptional all game at keeping London penned down in their own half as he did meters galore. At standoff is Johnny Lomax, and as his stats suggest, he ran the show against the black and whites as majestically as the late great Mr. Bruce Forsyth. And speaking of which, Johnny is perhaps the greatest of his generation. At 7 is Adam Clune of the Huddersfield Giants. He is proving his worth at the Giants this season, and this was perhaps his greatest outing of the season thus far. How much would the Blue and Amber like him at 7 instead of Frawley at this time? At 8, well, forwards win games, and when big Chris Satai came onto the field, it was like watching Flash Gordon play the Ming the Merciless Guards all over again. Oh yes, bodies were flying left, right and centre as Satai wreaks havoc. Colossal. At 9, meet Joe Mellor of Salford Red Devils. This may come as a surprise, but watch the game and see just how brilliant he was versus the Broncos. Versatility, you bet. And even Matthew Kelly would have been impressed. At 10, well, it had to be Jordan Desiree of the Dragons. On his return to the side, he was at his destructive best. On entering the field, the Dragons led 10-6, but by the time that he left, they were 26 points to 6 up. Coincidence? I think not. At 11 is Matty Nicholson, but not for his decisive try. Oh no, Nicholson was a man on a mission in defence versus the Leopards, with hit after hit on the Leopards' left edge of attack. On this showing and on this accuracy, he could well become an assassin once his playing days are over. At 12, oh, it's his second row partner who deservedly got man of the match from Sky, Lachlan Fitzgibbon. Take a bow. He had a cracker, and like Robbie Coltrane, this Fitz was calm and persistent throughout the game, in the confidence that he and his side would prevail. And finally at 13 is Oliver Partington of the Salford Red Devils, with a loose forward display of quality tackles, meters and a beautiful offload as well. Ho ho ho, they were all on show. Please sir, can we have more? Oliver, consider yourself selected. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 8.
So there you go, the team of the week for round number 8. You got lost with the You Bet comment and Matthew Kelly. I saw your face there. That's a bit of ITV knowledge there for you, Mr. Nixon. But go on, there's your team of the week. What do you think?
Can I just say there is only one Buzz Lightyear?
There is only, yes. I stole that from your best man speech. I did. Go on, carry on, sir.
No, I've got to. I know I'm a Wire fan. I know I'm biased, but Lachlan Fitzgibbon, oh my word. That guy on Saturday was outstanding. Masters, can't argue any of that, to be honest, Dave. A great team across the board.
Well, as you know, we call it straight. Latelli was on the losing team, but you go and check him out. Check best centre in the comp this weekend alongside Masters. Them two outstanding this week. And of course, 3 Salford Red Devils in there. And unlikely, I mean, Dion Cross run his blood to water. Oliver Partington, his defensive effort was incredible. And Joe Mellor at hooker was a revelation. So again, you know, everybody goes Mickey Mack, and don't get me wrong, Mickey Mack had a good game for Catalan, but trust me, go and watch Joe Mellor's game against Salford. Absolutely superb. Steph, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, and I agree with Fitzgibbon was just unbelievable in this game, and Latelli as well for the ones that I was at live. So yeah, not much to think here. I mean, I think the only thing I'd say is you've got to remember who Salford were playing, and they only put 12 past them. That'd be my only thing when you look at some of the performances of the Warrington and Lee and Huddersfield players. But they've both been well represented there, so not much to argue about.
Good man. That's what we like to see. But like I say, we love to share the love. We do call it straight. Freddie McGilvray. Oh, he's absolutely loving it. He's our Freddie. He's got high fives going on galore. A load of his giants in the team.
Adam Swift this season. Wow.
Yeah.
Why didn't I put him in my fantasy team? He's absolutely on fire.
Colossal, mate. He's
absolutely on fire, that guy.
Yeah, sensational, mate.
Yeah. Matt Moylan deserves a shout as well. He was very unlucky, I think, not to get in that team. I think he was, where Lachlan Lamb probably had one of his worst games for Lee actually this year. I thought Matt Moylan really stepped up, and he's coming for a bit of criticism. Moylan, I've seen a lot of other people don't rate him. I think he's absolute quality.
Right. I think he's a class player, mate, and I think that once you get everybody back fit and he's playing in his proper position, and him and Lamb can start to get the combos going. I think there'll be a lot of people relieved that Lee have had a bad start to the season, because I think by the business end, they could be really hitting the straps, them two. Really could be. Michael Bell there in the chat. Good evening, Michael. I wonder if that's the Michael Bell I used to work with. That'd be an interesting one. Let me know, Mike, if it is you. But yeah, Bevan French making team of the week. Would Wigan have a case to put Jaifield at 6? No, I think they've sampled that before. I think French, I think he will be the one at 6 for me. But yeah.
Yeah. Like you say, Dave, they've done that before. They've experimented there. I don't think I don't think he's quite as effective at number 6.
Completely agree. This is the table, and like we just said, Dragons 8 from 7, absolutely superb. I mean, look, from 8th up, it's a real comp. I mean, hopefully Lee get a bit of a wriggle on when everybody comes back, and they can start to maybe do a late surge for 6th. And I'm not counting Lee out just yet. I think a win is just around the corner. But yeah, I mean, look, it's not going to be probably as exciting as last year, certainly the end, because of course there's no relegation. But I think by the time we get to the business end of the season, it is shaping up for a real battle for the top spot and a real battle for the top 6. And that's what we want to see. It's going to be very interesting indeed. And there's some mouth-watering contests that we're just about to look at. Before we do, it's only right and only proper that we give him his day in the sun. Ryan Birch is back top of the Fantasy League. He's absolutely delighted, but it's only a slender lead. Ryan, don't start getting too ahead of yourself, sir. That just wouldn't do. But also, can we pay tribute to John Mason, another Huddersfield Giants fan? He scored top on the week with 729 points in the Fantasy League. So as things stand, Ryan Birch has a hand on a season ticket. Tony Pennington has a hand on a replica shirt. And Snake economist, the Scott Eastwood, there's a new name for you. He has now got a hand on a replica shirt as well. Come the end of the season, we wish you all the very best of luck with that. Before we go over to the predictions, a bit of business. Let's just mop up what's going to be happening this week. Unfortunately, like I say, game of the week. Well, actually, there's too many, so we're going to do game of the week as part of weekly. We're going to talk in length about what's coming up. We've got some mouth-watering games, but unfortunately, guys, I put a lot of effort into this. I do have a day job as well, and I've got a wife. So unfortunately, there's no game of the week, and there's going to be no news either on Thursday. I've got to get my priorities right because of my commitments during the day with my day job. So I do apologise for that, but they will be back in situ next week onwards. So I apologise. Don't hold it against me. Please don't hold it against me. Next week, like I've said, Super League Raw Weekly is a day later. It'll have to be on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. So don't tune in on Tuesday, but do tune in if you want to watch In Conversation with Craig Lingard. That's going to be free to air for you, just to carry you over on to Wednesday. So that's basically the big news, really. Do apologise that these things are going to be moving around over the next few days. Right, a couple of you have already gone there. As you can see, Mr. Nixon is got a T-shirt on there. As you can see, it's actually a one of a kind because it was actually printed incorrectly. It should have looked like that. Stop the season now. The Super League Raw merchandise has officially been launched today on patreon.com. Super League Raw. The Stop the Season Now T-shirt is on. We're going to be doing a magic one as well, but here they come. Here's the designs. We've already started to put them in. Welcome to the jungle. The Castleford Tigers, World Club Champions 2024. Ancient and loyal is, of course, the Wigan Warriors. The back of the T-shirts will all be the same. It will have the Super League Raw logo, and the number one destination for online rugby league will be between the shoulder blades on the back, not across the chest like Greg has got there. So there you go. It's Welcome to the Jungle. It's the World Club Champions. For you Warrington fans, it's always our year. Oh, just like the last one. And there you can see for the Robins, give a little respect to the Robins. Up the Robins. The hashtag is between the Robin mask there with 2 Robins in the mask as well, just for your side. And then look at that for Salford Red Devils. Don't go out tonight. I see trouble on the way. The Salford Red Devils are marching together since 1870, have been the Leeds Rhinos. All of those are now available on our Patreon website. Every single one of them. They're £19.99. That includes postage and packaging. They will be coming to you. So get over to our Patreon website. Go to the shop. There you go. Go and get your Super League Raw merch, and that will be continued to be added to throughout the season. And we are going to try and find somebody who can produce a Stop the Season Now glass that you can drink out of the Super League Raw Weekly Show. So get yourself over to Patreon, go and support us, go and get your merch. It'd be lovely to see those around the ground. Some lovely designs there. The rest of the teams are still being designed. We're going to get them out, and throughout the season, we'll keep adding different things there. So please do support us.
Let's see them all being worn at Magic Weekend.
Yeah, well, we're going to do a Magic Weekend shirt. So there's going to be a Magic Weekend shirt, especially for Magic. It will be an exclusive one for Super League Raw. Anybody who's attending Magic, please buy that. That will be there. It is there. It's definitely there. If you go onto Patreon under us, it will be there. Just keep looking. It's live. Super League Raw shop. And what I'll do is I will put a link onto our Facebook page for all of it. Okay, so there you go. Happy days. Oh, look at this. Lots of people enjoying it. Joel, the Giants one is being designed. So just hold fire on that
Joel,
one.
It's absolutely massive.
Yes, it will be. Fit for a giant, no less. Right, so there you go. there's the news. Hopefully you'll go over and you'll have a look at those and you'll get your orders in. Right, okay. Let's go to round number 9. Let's start the predictions. Round number 9. Actually, before we do, it'd be remiss of us not to give a little word out to our sponsors. So let's do that first.
He's target. Oh, here comes Koala.
Ooh, love that crunch.
Let me add a little bit of spice.
So there they are, Rugby League 3 quarters. Go over to them on their Facebook page if you like a bet. Of course, our own WhatsApp group is becoming that rapidly due to Mr. Sale & Co. But yes, by all means, go over on Facebook, have a look at that, and yeah, happy days. Right here, I mean, I've already said, haven't I? I mean, this is going to be quite a weekend. It really, really is. The Saints take on the Giants. That should be a belter. We're going to come to that first of all in a moment. Then the Robins take on the Warriors. The Robins, I mean, look, this is a curtain raiser for the semi-final. Let's be fair, they will want to bounce back from that Catalan defeat. Warriors on a really, really good run. That's going to be a cracking game. The Leopards, Dragons, I mean, look, count Leopards out at your peril. Just count them out at your peril. A win's coming. Is Asiata going to be fit? We'll ask Steph in a moment for that one. Dragons, of course, will be coming to the LSV. Should be an absolute belter. The Tigers, Broncos, nothing's really on the line except pride. But you know what? It's a compelling game. I'm really looking forward to that one. I think it could be a belter. Then it's the Red Devils, Wolves. As Greg will tell you, Warrington's bogey team, they don't do well against the Red Devils. We'll talk about that in a moment and why on earth I put the Catalan Dragons badge next to Hull FC. Hey, you black and white fans, hope springs eternal. You won't mind a bit of that, would you? But no, alas, it is Hull FC taking on the Rhinos at the MKM Stadium. Right, okay, let's get to it. Starting with the game at the totally wicked stadium, 3rd and 9th last season, respectively. As you can see, the round 1 replay, of course, that came later in the season, 32-18, the way the Saints. Magic was the blowout, if you remember that beautiful Joey Lussick strike. Remember that? It's a thing of beauty. 48 points to 6. And then, of course, round number 2 at the John Smiths this year, 28 points to 0. It's been 3 out of 3 for the Saints against the Giants. Second take on 6. So both teams improved on 2023 at the moment. 3-10 on the Saints. Nobody really surprised about that. 11-4. But look at the Giants there. 3 wins in Super League, plus that big win against Catalan in the Challenge Cup. They're coming into this game with brilliant, brilliant form. Players to watch has to be Adam Swift and Johnny Lomax are the 2 that I have chosen, gentlemen. This should be an absolute belter of a game. Let's quickly take a look at the runners and the riders for this. Chris Hill and Sam Hewitt, they're still going to be out. Andre Savelio is still absent. Hugo Salabio will return from his head knock and may play, but Jack Murchie is still expected to be out. That's a big blow for the Huddersfield Giants. Murchie's been playing well. As for Saints, of course, no Parsi still. Jake Wingfield out, no Alex Walmsley. Oh, actually, they're saying he might return from an hamstring, but I think that would be pretty risky, if I'm being honest. Lewis Dodd and Darryl Clark both in contention, unless Mr. Dodd's groin tightens up once more. Right, okay. Greg, we'll start with you. Saints Helens Huddersfield should be a cracking game.
Yeah. Is it if it's anything like the Leeds Huddersfield game, an absolute belter. I think Saints might save Walmsley and Clark for the cut. Oh, hang on, no. I think I think this has a potential to be an absolute classic. I think Huddersfield are playing really well. They seem to have clicked over the last few weeks. I think Saints have been rocked by that defeat from Warrington in the quarterfinals. I would have expected them to win by more last week. And I am going to please the Huddersfield posse. I am going to go Saints 9-17. So fully expect Huddersfield to win that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Before I bring you in, let's get a few in here. Swift will turn up, absolutely, Sammy lad. Well, let's see what people are saying in the chat. Right, Saints by 12, Neil Rennox there. Giants by drop goal, Freddie McGilvery saying. Connor Pickervan saying Saints 1-8. Don Kirkby, Huddersfield 1-8. Saints by 12, Craig Rigby. Michael Bell, Saints by 12. Murchie's going to be out for a couple of weeks, Joel is telling me, which is interesting. Yes. Steph, over to you.
I think it's going to be another belting game, this. Saints obviously got themselves back on track again last week at home with that dominant display over FC, but obviously it's going to be a different challenge this week. But I'm sure the Saints fans will get behind them, and it'll be interesting to see how Huddersfield go, given the efforts they've put in over the past few weeks, whether this is a game too far for them at this stage. You'd like to think not. Hopefully it'll be a close game, and this has got potential to be the game of the week for me. But I've said the same as Reggie. I've gone 9-17 to St Helens. I think they'll just have a bit too much for them. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big test this for Huddersfield. But I'll tell you what, gents, if Huddersfield turn Saints over, all of a sudden we're talking about Huddersfield being real contenders for the top 6, because I don't think any of us had them in the top 6 at the start of the season.
It could, like, as much as I've gone Saints 9-17, I wouldn't be surprised if Huddersfield won 1-8.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, Steph. Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's good counsel. Yeah, everybody's gone 9-17 Saints. Myself, Joel, fans forum, we've all gone the same score. We've all gone Saints. So Huddersfield, it's looking good.
Congratulations! Get that bet on at 3-1. It was 3-1. They were Huddersfield, so everyone lump on that. Happy days. Have a great weekend.
Happy days indeed. Right, we now go to Craven Park. Like I say, this is a curtain raiser for the semi-final. Not that you'll be able to read too much into that, of course. But yeah, here we go. Let's take a look at this. First and foremost, last year, 4th against 1st, we know that. Round 21 last year at the DW is 64 points to 6. Was that before the Challenge Cup? Steph, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. That was the big one. Obviously, yeah, the semi-final 11-10. And then, of course, round 13, a real tight one, 26-22. And we must remember as well, at the start of 2023, Hull KR turned over Wigan Warriors at Hull KR. That was a surprise, if you remember it, at the beginning of 2023. But the last 3 games, in Super League, the last 2 games in Super League have gone the way of the Warriors. It's 5th against 3rd, 21-10, the KR, 2-5, the Warriors. Current form, Wigan coming into this with off the back of 2 wins, 3 if you count the Challenge Cup. And of course, just that, I mean, they're in great form, weren't they? 4 wins in a trot for KR going into that Catalan game before they got turned over. Petr Hiku, I think, for me at the moment, probably one of the form players for KR one to watch. And I put Harry Smith there because I think his game management in games like this is really critical, really critical. When it's a tight game, Harry Smith, who's in great form this year and he's almost flying under the radar, actually, has been really, really good. Before we go to Steph, I'll bring Steph in first on this. Michael Lewis missed KR's defeat with a glute injury, but he should be back for this game. So that's great news if you're a Hull KR fan. And Oliver Gildart, of course, if you remember, I don't know if he travelled, but he was declared fit for the Catalan game, but didn't play. He's got a big chance of returning for this one. Okay. As for the Wigan Warriors, still no Sam Walters-Esser, of course. He's out anyway, but he's gone to Catalan, Castleford anyway. Even Havard is expected to be out for another week or 2. Adam Kieran should return. Of course, no Isa, but we'll be seeing Ensemba a bit more in that second row position. Do you know what? These have served up some belting games in the last few years. Is this going to be another one, Steph?
100%. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Walters there. I completely forgot about him.
Yeah.
Completely, it's frightening, isn't it? What Wigan have got is absolutely crazy. Because he was outstanding for Leeds last year, hence why Wigan picked him up. So to think they've got him to come back as well is... it's soul destroying, isn't it, for the rest of us? But I think the mitigator on this one is it's going back to Craven Park, isn't it? And Wigan haven't got the best history at Craven Park, if memory serves me right. Hull KR have turned them over a few times there. I think I'm right in saying that in the recent history. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Hull KR managed to put out the bag, especially given last week's performance. They'll be wanting to put a statement down, but I have to go with form and the class that I see that Wigan have got, and that's why I've gone Wigan 9-17, I think, on this one.
Yeah, and Greg Roach saying that it could be the game of the week. Do you know what? There's so many this week that could be the game of the week. I think this is a really good round of fixtures, round 9. Really looking forward to what's about to come our way this weekend. Sammy, he's not going to Leeds until next year, mate, so Hall will be playing for Hull KR this weekend. Right, let's get into the chat before going to Greg. Sammy saying Wigan 12, KR 24. Ooh, Sammy going KR. Michael Bell, he's gone Wigan by 6. Robert William Hickson, good evening, Rob. Wigan by 18. Uncle Freddie McGilvery, he's gone Wigan 1-8, sees it tight. Dawn Kirkby saying that Gildart will play in place of Opachik. I bow to your knowledge, Dawn. Don't forget to get your ball signed by Mr. Hall and make sure you post it because, of course, Dawn was the winner of our quiz. Speaking of the quiz, the next one is the 13th of May at 8 p.m. and tickets will be available from next week. For you, if you're a member, you don't have to do anything. You will be automatically enrolled onto it. Look out for your email. It will come from Eventbrite. You are automatically guaranteed a ticket. Because you remember, just do me a favour. And if you're not going to be able to come, release the ticket. That would be absolutely marvellous. Conor Pickavance saying Wigan by 18 plus. Neil Rennick's Warriors by 14. So not an awful lot of love other than Sammy. Where do you think this one's going to go?
I think KR have been stung by that defeat. I think they'll bounce back. And I'm going Wigan 1-8.
You're going Wigan 1-8. Well, again,
that's perfectly right. This has been a bit of a bogey ground for Wigan over the last few years. But I can't see, unless, like I said before, it's one of those games where Wigan just can't do it, like Hull KR at Catalan. Wigan are that much better again this season. I think they'll just get by. Did you own a beer there, Steph?
I think you did. I think you did.
I only had one Brewdog through the whole show.
Everybody's got
Wigan 1-8.
Everybody's gone Wigan. The 9-17 crew is me, Schofield, Steph, and the fans forum.
Andy Bibby's gone for Golden Point, Hull KR.
Yes, I saw that. Andy Bibby, yeah.
That would be a game.
You've gone 1-8, and Joel has gone 18 plus. So Joel sees this as a big win for the Wigan Warriors. Right?
Have we had a Golden Point this season, just out of interest?
Not that I can recall.
Because I think that's a great shot. I think in this round, given the teams that are playing each other, I think there could be a Golden Point this week.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
In one of the games.
Could be. Well, we now go to the Leopards, of course, 5th against 2nd last year. And it's fair to say, Steph, that last year you didn't get your own way. Wigan and Catalan were the two teams that caused you the most trouble last year. Catalan 3 from 3 against the Leopards in 2023. Currently position top, plays 9th. I do think 9th, though, for the quality of the Rugby League he's been playing, probably not a real reflection on where they are. I think better times are coming. Current game odds 19-10. The Leopards 4-9 on the Dragons, and it's quite ominous when you see 5 wins in a row in Super League in terms of current form. Of course, within that is the loss to Huddersfield as well, which we don't count in the Challenge Cup. As for Lee, they're on a 3-game losing streak. Matt Moylan, for me, I agree with Steph. I think Matt Moylan has been in great form. I think he's a real player. He's the one to watch for me. I think Warrington gave him far too much space on Saturday, and he caused Warrington a lot of problems. And Tom Davis, Tom Davis does a lot of work out of backfield. He's been having a really good season. I went Tom Davis, I don't know why, I just did, as one to watch. Maybe they'll go to his edge as opposed to the traditional left edge, just because, why not? It's a different tactic. Greg, Lee against Catalan. This would kickstart the Leopard season if they could manage to do it. Before we go there, let me just bring you up to speed with the ins and the outs. Gareth O'Brien, no, he's gone. Briscoe's left, of course. Asiata and Ipape are closing in. Steph, just quickly, do we think Asiata will be fit?
He's in the 21-man squad.
I've not seen that yet, so that's happy days.
Wait, he's not released yet. But Lamb confirmed in his press conference today he's in his 21-man squad, but very unlikely he'll play.
Right.
Mulhern's 50-50 if he's going to play. They're giving it till Friday.
Right.
But interestingly, these calf injuries at Lee, Mulhern's, it's his other calf that's potentially the issue now, which will explain the 20 minutes that he played at Warrington and never came back, which would be, that would be a kick in the stones, that one, if he's got another calf injury. But he's running apparently. But Asiata has a chance of playing, and if you've seen Lamb's poker face today, as we mentioned earlier,
Exactly. It could be a bluff. It could be a bluff.
It wouldn't surprise me if Asiata does 80 minutes on Friday night now.
And if Pape's about what, 2, 3, still 2 weeks away?
A week away, apparently.
A week away. Right, okay. So, Greg, there you go. There's the inside track on the Leopards. Over to you. Yeah. Steph last. What's your thoughts?
Lee played really, really well against us on Saturday. I think they're still going to struggle. The pack isn't as it should be, as Steph would agree. You're missing some big units in that pack. I would love Lee to win this because it would open it up at the top of the league. But I'm gonna delight all the Lee fans by going for a Dragons win 9-17.
9-17, the Dragons. Right. Over to you, Steph. Is this the game that you kickstart your season?
Well, I think McLaurin and McMeekin are right for Catalan, aren't they? So
they're banned, yeah. They're banned.
That's two big losses for them.
Ikevala as well. He's going to miss.
Is he?
It's
another big one, isn't it?
Jordan Abdul, obviously, he's not back.
Yeah. So I think we've got a chance. I really do. I don't see why not. Every game this season, we've been within scoring the same tries or within one try of pretty much every opposition we've been with, apart from Wigan. So I hope we can perform well. If we can get Asiata back, I think that could be a game changer.
Yeah,
with Mulhern as well. If both of those two are playing, then I think we've got a very good chance, especially with the players out for Catalan. So I think it's going to be an absolute cracker, and I'll use my golden point prediction. I think we're going to win it on golden point.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. And we actually are split on this one. We're all split on this one. So Gary Schofield, the fans forum, and Joel all go Catalan 1-8. Greg, as you've heard, has gone Catalan 9-17. I've gone with Steph. I've gone 1-8 Lee. I don't know. It's going to happen sooner or later. It could be this one. But I have gone, as you can see there, I have gone with Steph 1-8 to Lee. So there you go. At least it's not Greg.
I'll take it.
I said, at least it's not you predicting Lee.
Well, yeah, that's a Lee win, isn't it?
They can all come and annihilate me when we get beat by 40 on Wednesday next week.
Right. We'll go, Nicola Burtonwood's with. Here we go. Nicola's with us. Nicola's gone Lee 1-8. Hello, Nick. How are you? I hope you're well. Outstanding stuff. Greg Roach, he's gone with Catalan, Dragons by 8. Do you know what? Yeah, I mean, Satai and Desiree when they came off the bench. I mean, dearie me. Wow. I mean, they just blew him away from that point on. It was a contest up until they came on. To bring that much artillery off the bench, it is outstanding. So I see where he's coming from there. Dawn Kirkby, she's gone the same way. Cats 1-8 as well. Sam Holt, Tina Holt, Lee 8, Catalan 12, always predicted. What's he said there about you, Steph? You're happy with that, aren't you, Steph? No. It's not at all.
I'll tell you what is interesting as well in this, just on the betting, because obviously we say the bookies aren't usually that far wrong, but have a team that's top of the table playing a team that's sat in 9th and we're only 2-1 to win.
It's respect, isn't it?
I think that says a lot.
Yeah, you're playing well, mate. You've just not had the rub of the green. It's there's moments in games, and unfortunately you've come off the wrong side of those moments. Freddie McGilvey, he's gone Lee 1-8. That's good news. Lee by 6. Robert William Hickson says Asiata back, Moylan back. Back to 6 is what he's saying. Maybe not. I would say
McIntosh could playing him at fullback and having Moylan back at 6 could be the difference.
Craig Rigby's gone Lee 1-8. Going to pick advance Lee 1-4. Catalan's by 20. Neil Rennox. Good evening, Neil, again. Lots going on there. Like I say, a bit of a split. What we didn't do before we went into this is had a quick look at the prediction league, and I don't like doing this when Gary Schofield is top, but he's top. But look at Joel. Joel up to 2nd. They both overtook me this week. Gary Schofield 1-3-4. Joel 1-3-3. 1-3-2, and there's Steph and Greg level pegging on 1-2-2 apiece, with the fans forum now on 116. So all to play for in the bit of fun that is the prediction league. Right, we now go over to Saturday, don't we? Is it Saturday? I think it is. Oh no, sorry, we stay on Friday. My apologies, because we've got to look at this one. The Castleford Tigers take on the London Broncos at the Jungle this Friday. 10th against 12th. Look at the odds. 2-13 on Cass. 9-2 the Broncos. Just the one win, that win against Salford for Castleford. And the players to watch are picked out on this one, clearly in a senior. And Hakim Maludi of the London Broncos, who I think we'd all agree, has attributed himself pretty well thus far in Super League this season. Of course, Casper will have the likes of Corey Hall to call upon. Tex Hoy will probably make his debut. Lewis Senior more than likely saying out on the wing. So they're pretty much there. George Lawler, not expected to return after his seizure. He's still going to be out. So pretty much, I think, a very similar team to what played against Wigan. Ron Milnes did a hamstring, which is quite interesting. Westerman, when I spoke to Craig Lingard exclusively, members will see this tomorrow, Westerman is likely to play. No McShane, though. No McShane. McShane will not be playing in this game, he told me. As for the London Broncos, again, no real change for the Broncos from the team that they've been putting out on the field. So they'll this with the usual absentees, the likes of Leyland, Billy Leyland, etc. So that's where we are. Steph, I'll start with you on this one. I'm really, I don't know why. And you know what? It's probably not going to be the best game in the world. But, you know, as a purist, as a man that just loves his rugby league, I'm looking forward to this one.
Absolutely. It's the sadistic rugby league person in us, isn't it? You know, I think there's a bit of intrigue in this one, just in the losing Broadbent, because he won't be playing in this one, will he now? And then having so many players come in is quite disruptive. And it'll go one or two ways for Cass, that. You know, I mean, you'd like to think it can't get much worse, kind of thing. But having that many changes to your squad, whereas London are coming off the back of keeping Salford to 12 points, which is a tremendous effort by any Super League club. You know, Salford are a great attacking side. So that they'll take a lot of confidence from that. I've gone for this is the London win. 1-8.
1-8. The London Broncos, says Steph. What say you, Mr. Dixon?
I think Steph's right about the disruption that new players might cause to the Castleford side. You know, how long have they had to learn the moves, the defensive sets, the set plays? And I think that will have an effect. But I'm not going to back London on this one. I don't think this is the one they win. I think Castleford 9-17.
You're going Cass 9-17, as he's Birch, as is Nicola Burton Wood. Dawn Kirkby saying Wood, Senior and Hall all know each other very well. They do indeed, which is interesting. Robert William Hickson, Cass by 12. Sammy's gone London 18, Cass 12. He fancies a bit of London Broncos. Does he? We've already seen the top comments there on the screen by Craig Rigby. Come on, London. Is this the one for them? Freddie McGilvey thinks not. He's gone 9-17 Cass. Dawn Kirkby 9-17 to the Cass. Connor Pickervance goes London 1-8. Neil Rennick's Cass by 12. Oh, it's all a bit split on this one. As are we, the panel. Let's take a quick look through it. Gary Schofield, 18 plus to the Tigers. I don't see that. Really don't see that. Greg, as we've just heard, 9-17 Cass. The fans form have gone the same way. Joel's gone Cass 1-8. I have gone again with the sale. Oh, I'm going it. I'm going London. I don't know why. I just feel it could be the one. London Broncos. Could this be the one for the mighty Broncos? We will wait and we will see. It will be an intriguing contest, if nothing else. Right, we now move to Saturday to the Salford Community Stadium as the Wire take on the Red Devils with Paul Rowley still at the helm. Last year, it was one apiece. So you can forget that round 25 golden point game, 24 points to 20, a win for the Salford Red Devils. It was a brilliant game as well at the HJ in round 3. Salford went right out into the lead, and then back came the Wire in the second half to get a 36-20 win. 4th against 7th from last year, of course. current game odds 17-10, Wire 1-2. As you can see there, Warrington 3 wins in a row if you count the Challenge Cup. As for the Salford Red Devils, of course, come through London last week. They've had a couple of in the last 5 there. I think this is going to be a master against Apprentice. I think this is going to be fascinating to see the young Leon Hayes go up against, let's be fair, one of the most professional and best kickers in the Super League era in Mark Sneed. I think it's going to be a great, great game of rugby league because, of course, my mate Reggie's the Wire fan will come to you first on this one. Steph, again, both of these two teams like to play attractive rugby league. I think here's a question for you. Within the camp, it was probably high-bosh pretty quickly that Rowley wasn't going to Hull FC. Yeah. Will this make him a little bit underprepared for this?
No, I think it'll have the exact opposite effect. I think it'll galvanise him, knowing that Rowley's 100% behind him for now. These games over the last few years have been fantastic games. They've swung one way and another. Wire have gone there and won. Salford have won. Salford have got kind of a bit of a hoodoo on us. Golden Point win last year. It depends which Salford turns up. Is it the Salford that turned up against Wigan and against Saints? Or is it the Salford that turned up against London? I am a little bit concerned that this is our OKR game where we've been playing well, and this is one where we start running in treacle. And I hate to say this, but I'm going Salford 1-8, and this for me is the Golden Point game.
So you've changed from the one that you sent me.
I went for Salford 1-8.
No, you didn't. You went Wire 1-8.
No, I've got it there, mate, on screen.
Have you?
Salford 1-8.
Right,
yeah.
I misread yours. My apologies. Yeah, he has. Salford 1-8. My apology. He has gone Salford 1-8. I don't think. Well, Michael Bell there. Salford 18+. That's a big shout.
It could happen.
Because
it depends which Salford turns up.
It could. Well, Andy Bibby disagrees with Mike. He's gone Wire comfortably.
I hope you're right.
18. That's not comfortable. Nicola Burtonwood, she's gone Wire 1-8. Golden Point again, says Peter Mason. But which way, Pete? Which way? Speaking of Peter Mason, really looking forward to spending some time with Peter at the Wigan Catalan game. He's coming over from Belarus, and I'm going to be spending the afternoon with him. Really looking forward to meeting our Peter that day. Right. The Wire 32, Salford 14 after a Salford early lead. Dawn Kirkby, she's gone the Wire. Freddie McGilvery's gone the Wire 9-17 as well.
Freddie.
So there you go. Pardon?
Freddie.
Freddie what?
What are you doing, mate? You tip Salford and then Warrington win.
Well, he's just enjoying himself. He's it's Freddie. Look, this is Uncle Freddie. Uncle Freddie can do what he likes. Right, Mr. Sale, over to you. Salford, Warrington should be a cracking game if they both throw the ball about.
Yeah, absolutely. Two quality sides, and I've been very fortunate to watch both Warrington and Salford live this season, and I've been very impressed with both teams. When it's different when you see it live to watch it on the TV. They're both very good teams. And it's interesting in the chat the amount of people who are saying golden points for different games. I'm convinced if you're going to put a bet on this week that there's going to be a golden point win this week, but it won't be in this game because Wire are going to stuff them 9-17.
Hope you're right, Steph. Hope you're right.
I think it should be a cracking game. Like I say, they are the bogey team. Only Greg then going the way of Salford. Everybody else is going the way of Warrington. 9-17 seems to be the way. Everybody's gone 9-17 the Wire. Bar Greg, who has gone Salford. So there you go. That's an interesting one for you.
Won't be allowed in the Halliwell Jones from now on.
I just think it'll be a great game. I think and again, what's going to be. I mean, it's such a fascinating one. This because if you look at the 3/4 line. The size advantage is clear in terms of McDonald and Lafay. That is colossal. It really, really is. But I do think, that the middle unit is Warrington. If Warrington's front row, Harrison's in great form.
Forwards win games, exactly. I thought it was really encouraging watching. I mean, like I say, it's the part of the game that doesn't get celebrated enough. Nicholson's defence against Lee was just magnificent. Outstanding.
wasn't it? So, you know, and then Fitzgibbon. And the thing about Fitzgibbon is, you know, you can look at Fitzgibbon's game statistically against Lee. There was other second rowers throughout the league that might have posted more meters or more tackle busts or whatever. But what he did had a fundamental part in Warrington winning that game.
Yeah.
Correct.
It wasn't how many moments he had. It was the fact that every moment he did have was just pure quality. I agree with Steph. I think he's a quality player. Newcastle Knights said when he left, they were gutted that he went, and Warrington getting a champion professional player. And I think we're seeing that. I think Fitzgibbon at the moment, it's a bit early yet, but he's absolutely in contention for a second row spot in the dream team at the end of the season.
Listen, if he played for Saints or Wigan, he'd be in contention for Man of Steel.
I don't think he's doing that well.
Right? Yes, he is. He's that good.
We can agree to that. People like it when we disagree, so I'm going to disagree with you.
I'll tell you what, Fitzgibbon and Nicholson has a potential to be, with Curry at loose when he gets fit, has got potential to be the best back three in Super League. The potential. I'm not saying they are yet. Has the potential.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all playing well. They're in good form. So it's really, 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 really interesting. But yeah, there you go. Happy days, wonderful stuff. And just like that, we arrive at the final game. And that final game is going to, of course, be Hull FC taking on the Leeds Rhinos. Here it is, 10th against 8th from last season. Look at the scores. If you look at that there, round number 2 at Headingley, 22-18 last season. Round number 9 was at Headingley, 34-10 win for the Rhinos. And then, of course, round 24 at the MKM, a 28-12 win for the Rhinos. More importantly, what's the current form like? The current form, as you can see, I've got opening round written there for. I'll have to get that changed. But, of course, Hull FC, 5 losses on the spin. 2 losses on the spin now for the Leeds Rhinos. They're not coming into this with good form, yet they are 1-8 on, which I think is pretty generous the way they've been playing. 11-2. Jack Charles, Brodie Croft. We've already talked about it as part of tonight's show. Brodie Croft was utterly deflated. Where's the Man of Steel gone? Oh, dearie me. He would love a familiar face in the dugout, but that's a little bit contentious, isn't it? We'll keep an eye on that one. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Hull FC, you know, it's loads of injuries. Jack Walker should be back. They're saying that would be a massive, massive bonus because Walker was their best player. Before he went out, Walker was having a great season. So if he is back on Sunday, that is a real positive for the Hull FC. As for Leeds Rhinos, you know, the likelihood is no Foster Tua, no Harry Newman. Donaldson, there's still question marks over him. James Bentley, of course, he's still recovering from his HIA. No Handley as well. They'll be a little bit flattened off the back of the Huddersfield loss. I don't fancy, I'll just go out there straight away. I don't fancy Leeds for this, but, well, no, there is no but, really. Over to you, Greg. Leeds against Hull FC.
Yeah, just replying to Andy Bibby why Fitzgibbon will be Man of Steel with Saints. I was being a little bit facetious, sir.
Yes.
Tongue in cheek, mate. Tongue in cheek. Yeah, this has a potential to be Hull's first win. You know, a new kind of management. They've missed out on Rowley. They've got Broadbetter. They've got played out Tex Hoyce. Blah blah blah. Potential to be Hull's first win, but I think Leeds are going to win 9-17. I think Leeds was stung last week. I think Rohan Smith has got to get the troops behind him. I think he will. I think this is where maybe Leeds start to come back into it. Leeds 9-17.
Well,
sorry, Dawn. Yes.
Yeah.
Hull have won a game. I apologise.
They have, yes. Yeah, they won a
game. They beat the mighty London by 4 points.
2, wasn't it? Was it 2? But yeah, Leeds 36, Hull FC 0, Sammy. Leeds 9-17, Nicola Burton won again, proud member of Nicola. Good evening, Nicola. Robert William Higson, Leeds 18. Tyndall maybe back, says Callum. Rhinos 9-17, Leeds 18+. They're all coming in here at this moment in time. Steph, one thing's for certain: if Hull FC win this, Rowan Smith, he's packing his bags, isn't he?
Absolutely. I don't know if Craig Rigby's been on the single malt, but he's going Hull 8-1. I don't know if he's on Bet365 there rather than the score predictions.
It's late at night. He might have had a single or two.
I'm sure he's on a single. Maybe he's dancing somewhere on the WhatsApp group. It's 1-8. I think you meant there, Craig. It's I think Briscoe maybe making his first game, coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Ed Chamberlain, they could both get a hat trick each in this one, couldn't they? And make it really interesting. No, it's not going to happen, is it? It's Leeds 18 plus all day. This.
Yeah, the only one, like I say, I think only Reggie's gone 9-17. Everybody else has got 18 plus on this for the Rhino, which is quite interesting. But I think probably with the exception of that last game, where everything points to a very comfortable Leeds win, every other game this weekend, if you like your rugby league, you've got to be watching this weekend.
Bless me.
Absolutely, the hay fever's kicking in there. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. As always, we say every week, the membership is open. Can't do it without you. We really do need your support. Please, if you have been considering becoming a member, please do become a member. For less than a latte a month, you get all of this entertainment. And of course, you get the comps and all the rest of it. And in less than 2 weeks' time, Super League Raw will be sending a member to the Challenge Cup final. 2 tickets to the Challenge Cup final on the way. Of course, the quiz is coming back in May. Members go to that as part of their membership. Go over to Patreon, have a look at it. Who's going to win the next quiz? What's the prize going to be? Can't be a ball. We've done that. Going to have to be a little bit different, isn't it? It's going to have to be a little bit different. And of course, don't forget, the shop's open, or it will be. I'll be sending the links out. Stop the season now. There it is, Reggie, the model. And I have to say, I think the designs of these really, really nice. It has to be said. I love I'd award a bit of bias, but I love the wire one. I think that's absolutely splendid. Give a little respect, of course. You can't beat a bit of erasure at Hull KR. Don't go out tonight as well, you Salford Red Devils fans. Keep your eyes peeled. If your team hasn't got one yet, one is coming. Do support us. It will be fantastic to see Super League Raw merchandise on the road. We've got the car stickers, but you know what? It's a conversation starter. Where did you get your ticket? Where did you get your T-shirt from? I got it from Super League Raw. Who's Super League Raw? Let me tell you who Super League Raw are. And you know what? Tourman, Lingard, Applegarth, Rowley, Partington, every In Conversation guest have said the same thing. We are a breath of fresh air for the competition, for rugby league. We promote it, we love it, we celebrate it. Nobody does it the way we do it. We need the community to grow. We need your support. Go to Patreon, take a look at the membership. Please take one out. It will be really, really appreciated if you could. Gentlemen, another 1 hour and 35 minutes of merriment and sport has gone by. How excited are we for round 9?
It's going to be probably potential to be the best round so far this season.
Yes,
easily.
And I take it your fridge is well and truly stocked, Mr. Stale, ready for the merriment?
Absolutely. Are you boys going to this Ulf game?
I fully plan to. I think Greg's supporting his children, but I do plan to.
I'm watching Warrington women at Headingley.
And on that note, congratulations to the Nixon family. A certain Rebecca Nixon scored her first ever Super League try for the Warrington Wolves against Ferriston. A big round of applause for our Rebecca. Outstanding to see the Nixon on the score sheet.
And a big shout out for a younger sister, Zoe, who got a hat trick as well for Culture Eagles.
Balance it up, sir. Love what you're doing there. Well done.
She was actually featured on. She was on the Super League actual official.
She was,
wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, call me biased. She's like a niche. She's a very attractive girl. If you're gonna sell the game, no, she is. Hey, mate. Safe as a row of houses with me, mate. You know, I'm checked out. I'm checked out. Don't worry about that. But no, at the end of the day, she is. She's, you know, good on her. Good on her.
Yes. Outstanding effort. Well done on your first ever Super League
try. The first.
Very proud of you. Very
first, we're all really
first of many, hopefully first of many.
Let's hope so, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just remind you one final time. Next week, we're not here on Tuesday. We're here on Wednesday, 8 p.m. next Wednesday. Super League Raw Weekly, 24 hours later. But I will be putting out the Craig Lingard In Conversation a day early, so you've got something to do next Tuesday because I'm a very nice man. So there you go. Right, we're going to go out as always with the top performers of Super League.
A quick shout out
for
the Jarrow Vikings Rugby League.
Could you have a quick shout out for the Jarrow? Absolutely, Michael. Absolutely, Michael. Jarrow Vikings Rugby League. Join us again next week. Tell us a bit more there. Hey, what's all that about? What's it? Oh, but we'll done. I don't know what Callum's going on about. Sorry, Callum. Don't know what you're going on about there. So anyway, it's been a great night. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know you have enjoyed the show. We're going to go out as usual with the top performers. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. The Final Whistle podcast will be back on Monday. I promise you. I know you've missed it, guys.
Final Whistle on Monday or Sunday, Dave.
The Final Whistle will be Sunday, but it'll go out as a podcast on Monday as always.
Of course.
It's on Sunday. The invites will go out to the membership. So again, Michael Bell, he's been all over the chat tonight. Michael, become a member. Be a part of the Final Whistle podcast on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Get your invite. Come to it. Yeah, become a member. Why not? Happy days. Craig Rigby will be there. Don't you worry about that. Right, here they come, the top performers. We keep going on. The top performers from round number 8. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys.
Are your top performers after 8 rounds of the Betfred Super League. Leading the try-scoring charts are Adam Swift of the Huddersfield Giants and Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors, each on 9. The top try-assisters are Brodie Croft and Mark Sneed, each with 10. The most metres in Super League have been made by Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 1,411. He also holds the current top spot for tackle busts with 62. And make that a hat-trick as Matt Duffy leads the clean break charts with 10. The most offloads in Super League have been by Sam Ward of the Casper Tigers and Nene McDonald of Salford Red Devils, each with 17. The hard meter maker in Super League is Paul Vaughan of the Warrington Wolves with 927. The most tackles is now James Batchelor of Hull KR with 314, taking over from Jordan Lane this week. And still top of the shops for goal kicking is Mark Sneed of the Salford Red Devils with 31. These are the top performers in Super League after 8 rounds.